Thank you for tuning in with me this week on Mommy Rush. Here's what we have in store for you. So, welcome back to Mommy Rush. Hi, I'm Rochelle, Mommy Rush, and I am mother of twin girls, RJ Crew. And this week's episode, so would have spoken about when I found out I was pregnant. You have my sympathies, and then the thought process that went into my pregnancy journey. I always knew. We're at the third episode now, which is Cup and Spoon, and I've titled it Cup and Spoon for some specific reasons, which you'll find out later on. So preparing for the girls for me meant I needed quite a bit of help and support, as 90% of my pregnancy, as I mentioned to you before, was spent on bed rest. Now, with help, I've learned comes lots of advice, plenty of advice, especially when there are 2 points in your life where you're going to get a lot of advice. When you're preparing for marriage, you get a lot of marriage and relationship advice, and also when you're preparing for parenthood, I got a lot of advice on motherhood. Now, nesting with friends and family meant they were sharing their experiences with me, and their desires, their tips, their tricks, whatever they use for their children, or what their cousins use, or what their sisters use, or what their neighbors use. All of it was nestled up into, let me give Rochelle some advice. All of it, they were sure, was the best thing in their mind for me and for RJ Crew. I chose most of the times to listen, and with the nod and smile, and everything was in working order. However, as I told you before, I had motherhood on my mind since childhood. So I really had a lot of time to prepare. My husband and I had a lot of time to sit and discuss what our plans or intentions were and the type of parents that we wanted to be. The only aspect of childcare which we didn't really prepare for, I didn't prepare for, was feeding, which I could write a book on right now. Now, this is so critical that it must be shared in 2 parts. So first, my mother-in-law led the charge for the Cup and Spoon campaign, right? So the Cup and Spoon movement started very, very early on. This was the first philosophy is the philosophy where a baby is fed using a cup and spoon to avoid nipple confusion. And this is used right throughout the 6 months. So you breastfeed, and when you're not breastfeeding, you use a cup and a spoon, and I'm saying it literally. It's not anything unique when I say cup and spoon. When I'm saying cup and spoon, I mean a teacup and a spoon, teaspoon or soup spoon or porridge spoon, a spoon, to feed my twin girls. Yes, so no bottle, just cup and spoon. I did my research, I listened to the advice. Honestly, I agreed with it in principle, but I was dreading the whole ordeal of getting up in the middle of the night with 2 crying babies, getting the babies to drink from the spoon when I was already busy practicing how to get them to latch effectively, and now I'm gonna have to get them to take the milk through the spoon, and how much breast milk was being wasted and lost and spilt. And then I'd usually turn to do what most persons do when you're a little confused about this process. I started turning to Amazon, and I found on Amazon the Borrow by Silicone Squeeze feeding spoons. Borrow by Silicone Squeeze feeding spoons saved me. So those spoons were just amazing. It's a baby food dispenser spoon. It's normally used for like cereals or porridges that you're going to feed the baby, or probably purees and stuff. It's so nice that I had to buy it twice. So I have about 4 of them. So when the girls came home from the hospital for about the first three hours a day. Well, first week I'd say, outside of getting breast milk, they would receive expressed milk, and that was fed to them using a cup and spoon for about 2 days. Then we graduated to a pipette, which you'd be familiar with. I'll put a link to it in the comments. The pipette was used, and then once my silicone squeeze feeding spoons arrived, no more pipette, no more cup and spoon. It was just those tiny spoons, and they really made a difference. We used that for about 6 weeks, and it made the latching experience so much better, because for me, twin one didn't want to latch because she found it to be very difficult and thought it was, I mean, this is just my assessment, but she didn't want to put the work in to figuring out how to latch and suck. And with the spoon, because the breast milk is being funneled into their mouth, she would just open her mouth and swallow. She didn't have to suck. Twin two, expert latcher. As soon as she came out of the womb, she was latching like a pro. But from using the spoon, eventually, twin at that 6 week point, twin one became tired now of not getting enough milk as fast as her sister was getting it. So that's when she made a bigger effort to latch, and it made my latching experience better. It wasn't as painful for me once it is that I started using the cup and spoon, but well, the squeeze spoon, eventually that now became obsolete. So we didn't have the stress of nipple confusion when we started out, when we had to be managing those 2-hour and 3-hour feeding cycles. It proved to be far more effective than just the regular old cup and spoon or the pipettes. We ordered 2 at first from Amazon, then we went again and got another 2, and the girls were feeding like every 2 hours, then every 3 hours. This is when we decided to order the 2 more, when we got up to every 3 hours with the feeding. And thankfully, because we ship with using reliable couriers, the stuff were here in just a week. They were at the door. So that's the journey of cup and spoon. So as I mentioned to you, we graduated from cup and spoon after approximately 6 weeks, meaning we graduated from the squeeze spoon onto something else. Hi, I'm Rochelle. Thank you so much for spending the time to tune into Mommy Rush. I look forward to sharing with you each week, and I'm excited about what we have in store for you next week. So don't miss it, this and every Thursday. Mommy Rush. Motherhood is a journey, so why rush?